We're going to slow things down just a little bit. This next piece, about 12 years ago, I was sitting in our concert hall on the Baylor University campus listening to the Baylor Acapella Choir perform Grace Before Sleep by Susan Labarr. She lives in Missouri. And I literally was moved to tears because of the beautiful words, the text, the poignancy, the atmosphere. And I remember thinking, after I sort of composed myself later, I think this piece would work really well for wind ensemble. So I contacted Susan Labarr, who put me in touch with her publisher in California, and received permission to work on this arrangement. This is something that I self-publish, so if any music educators are interested after you hear it, please let me know. It's about a grade 3, but it has so much musical potential, and I think you'll hear that. The piece is based on a Sarah Teasdale poem, and I want to read you the words. There's parts of that I talked to the students about. Here's the text, again by Sarah Teasdale. How can our minds and bodies be grateful enough that we have spent here in this generous room, we three, this evening of content? Each one of us has walked through storm and fled the wolves along the road. But here the hearth is warm and wide, and for this shelter and this light, accept, O Lord, our thanks tonight. And I talked to them about the fact that life isn't fair, even at their age. Certainly for those of us older in the room, we understand it's not fair to us either. We have had our fair share of storms, and quite literally in your case. We have had, maybe wolves in sheep's clothing in our past, and we've learned to see those, and somehow managed to get to the end of a day and think, I don't know how I made it, but I did. Hopefully I can get some rest tonight, and I'll try again tomorrow. And we talked about we're flawed people, we're humans, we're going to make mistakes, but our response to those and to the circumstances in our lives will often dictate what happens to us later. I had the students read an article. They didn't know that they were going to have a reading assignment when they came to New Orleans. So parents asked them, one, did you read the article from Dr. Wilson? And then let me read it, because I think you'll enjoy this. I want to read, this is a welcome address that was given to parents, actually, by a pianist to the Boston Conservatory incoming class. And he wrote a short speech that he gave, and then now it's been published, and I want to read you the ending of it, because I think it's quite profound, and I think you will understand the reasons why this piece is so moving. He concludes his article with this. If we were a medical school and you were here as a med student practicing appendectomies, you'd take your work very seriously, because you would imagine that some night at 2 a.m. someone is going to waltz into your emergency room and you're going to have to save their life. Well, my friends, someday at 8 p.m. or noon is going to walk into your concert hall and bring you a mind that is confused, a heart that is overwhelmed, a soul that is weary. And whether they go out whole again will depend partly on how well you do your craft. You see, you're not here to become an entertainer, and you don't have anything to sell. The truth is, being a musician isn't about dispensing product like selling used Chevys. I'm not an entertainer, he says. I'm a lot closer to a paramedic, a firefighter, a rescue worker. You're here to become a sort of therapist for the human soul, a spiritual version of a chiropractor, physical therapist, someone who works with our insides to see if they get things to line up, to see if we can come into harmony with ourselves and be healthy and happy and well. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I expect you not only to master music, I expect you to save the planet. Because if there is a future of peace for humankind, if there's to be an understanding of how these invisible internal things should fit together, I expect it will come from the artists. Because that's what we do. Here's Susan Labarr's Grace Before Sleep. Thank you.